Years later, their eyes met again, but this time, he wasn't the one begging. Guess what he did? Watch till the end because what happened next will shock you. Amaka was the first daughter of a poor family in Umidike. Her mother sold roasted corn by the roadside, her father worked in a small carpentry shed. She had 7 younger siblings, yet she never complained. Every morning, she tied her wrapper, swept the compound, helped her mother, and still found time to smile. Her beauty was simple, the kind that didn't need gold or powder. When she smiled, even strangers smiled back. But poverty always found a way to remind her that beauty doesn't fill empty stomachs. Her friends, Glory and Precious, were nothing like her. They loved flashy things, wigs, makeup, and city life. They always told Amaka she was wasting her beauty. Amaka, Glory said one evening, "You too dey humble. See as you fine, yet you dey sell corn. If not me, I for done marry one rich man already." Precious laughed. "No love go feed your 7 siblings. You better open your eyes." But Amaka just smiled. "I go marry for love, not money." At that time, she was in love with Chinedu, a humble graduate still searching for a job. He wasn't rich, but he was kind. Every evening after church, they'd sit under the mango tree behind her house. Chinedu would say, "Amaka, I bought you this notebook. Write your dreams in it." And she'd reply softly, "Thank you, Chinedu. I write our future inside too." Their love was genuine. They both dreamed of a better life, but poverty mocked their plans. Still, they held on. Until school and city life began to change things. Amaka and her friends gained admission into a nearby polytechnic. Glory and Precious became her roommates. They were always with wealthy men, coming home with expensive clothes and phones. One evening, Precious waved a new phone in her face. "Amaka, this your small boy boyfriend never even get job. You dey waste your time. Look at us, we don't stress. Open your eyes." Amaka tried to ignore them, but deep down, their words began to echo. She saw how easy their lives looked, how much respect people gave them. Slowly, doubt crept into her heart. Then one night, Glory forced her to attend a birthday dinner. That was the night she met Chucks. He was tall, handsome, soft-spoken, and unlike the loud men who always bragged. When he spoke, his tone was calm and deliberate. When Amaka tried to pay for her drink, he smiled and said, "Please, allow me. You remind me of someone I once respected." He didn't rush her. He sent thoughtful gifts, bags, nice dresses, perfume, and even food for her mother. He knew how to make her feel seen. Meanwhile, Chinedu still visited her every weekend, bringing home cooked food, helping her study, talking about their future. But she was no longer fully there. Her phone buzzed with messages from Chucks. Her heart was torn between loyalty and desire. It wasn't greed that trapped her, it was curiosity. The taste of a life she had never known. Weeks later, Chinedu invited her to the mango tree. He looked nervous but happy. "Amaka," he said, "I have good news, my love." Before he could say another word, Amaka interrupted him. Her eyes trembled. "Chinedu, I'm getting married. To someone else." Silence fell. Even the wind stopped moving. Chinedu's voice broke. "Married? To who?" She whispered, "Chucks." He looked at her for a long moment. "Who is Chucks?" "I thought you loved me." "I did," she said, but love doesn't pay bills. That night, Chinedu couldn't say another word. He didn't tell her about the new job. He walked away, heart shattered, dreams buried under the mango tree where love once bloomed. Months later, Amaka's wedding was the talk of Umidike. Cameras flashed, gold gowns shimmered, her friends cheered. Everyone said, she made it. She chose the right one. Her family would be proud. But barely 3 years in marriage, Amaka's laughter was gone. At first, Chucks treated her like a queen. Then the charm faded. He became controlling. He stopped her from walking. You don't need to stress, he'd say. Everything you need, I'll provide. But what he meant was, you depend on me for everything. He started shouting at her over little things, cold food, unwashed clothes, crying children. One night, he slapped her. The next day, he bought her a necklace to say sorry. Soon, the apologies stopped too. When she tried to visit her mother, he forbade it. Your people will not bring their village mentality into my house, he barked. He took her phone. Stopped her friends from visiting, saying they were bad influence. Her life became a quiet prison. 3 years into the marriage, she had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. Her beauty faded under stress. She barely recognized herself in the mirror. Chucks always body slammed her. Called her a milking factory. A baby-making machine. Chucks never really wanted to get married. He was under pressure by his mom. Being an only child, she wanted grandchildren. And for Chucks, Amaka was the only available naive village girl he could control and tame because he had one she wanted. Or so she thought. One night, after another argument, Chucks lifted his hand to beat her again. But before he could strike, a loud knock thundered on the door. Open up. EFCC. Chucks froze. In seconds, officers stormed in. They searched the house, seized cash, jewelry, cars, everything. Amaka stood in shock, clutching her children as they dragged her husband away in handcuffs. Mr. Chucks, you're under arrest for fraud, money laundering, and drug trafficking, the officer said. All the luxury, the gold, the mansion, gone in one night. As they were all seized and under investigation, Amaka's friends disappeared. Nobody came to help. She was left with nothing but shame and 3 hungry children. She returned to her mother's roadside store, the same place she once swore she'd never come back to. Her mother embraced her with tears. My daughter, Mama, Amaka said softly, life gives everyone their turn. Yours just came too fast. Amaka cried as she roasted corn beside her mother, her children sitting quietly by the fire. The same villagers who once envied her now whispered behind her back. Weeks later, a black SUV stopped by the store. When she turned, her heart froze. It was Chinedu. He stepped out, looking calm, confident, and successful in his oil company uniform. For a moment, Amaka wished she could vanish. But Chinedu walked closer, smiling faintly. Amaka, he said gently, how are you? Her voice trembled. Chinedu. I didn't know you'd come back. He looked at her children. They are beautiful. You've done well raising them. Tears filled her eyes. I'm sorry, Chinedu. I was blind. He sighed. Don't be sorry. Life teaches us in different ways. He brought out his wallet, gave her some money, and handed her his card. Use this. Buy something for the kids. They deserve better. He knelt slightly, patted the children's heads, and smiled warmly. Be strong for your mother, okay? As he turned to leave, Amaka broke down in tears. Her heart ached with regret, not just for losing him, but for losing herself. Her mother came out from the stall and placed a hand on her shoulder. Wipe your tears, my daughter. As long as there's life, there's hope. That night, Amaka sat outside, staring at the moon. She remembered everything, the love she threw away, the lies she believed, the peace she lost. She whispered, "If only I had listened." She prayed quietly for forgiveness and strength to raise her children. Beauty fades. Wealth disappears. But choices, they stay. Years passed. The suffering was heavy. She had started a small food business with the small money inside the envelope Chinedu had once pressed into her hand before they parted ways. Inside it was a few thousand naira, and a note that read, "In case life ever gets too hard, remember, you're stronger than you think." In the city, Chinedu had risen through the ranks. He was now a top engineer in an oil company, respected and wealthy. His company had just started a new project in Amaka, his hometown. That day, tired from a long inspection, he told his PA to get him something local to eat. The PA smiled, "Sir, I know the perfect spot. Everyone in town eats from there." A few minutes later, a young girl arrived with neatly packed food, steaming rice and stew that smelled like home. She greeted politely, "Good afternoon, sir." The moment Chinedu looked at her, his heart skipped. Her eyes, her face, she looked exactly like Amaka. He asked softly, "What's your name?" "Ifeoma, sir," she said, smiling shyly. With that little money, Amaka had bought a small stove and began selling jollof rice beside her mother's corn stand. The aroma of her food spread like music through the market. Her hands cooked magic, soft rice, spicy stew, fried meat that melted in the mouth. Soon, people started coming from all over town. Taxi drivers, traders, even office workers. Her little shop grew, and she began delivering food to offices. Her eldest daughter, Ifeoma, only 11 years old, helped her with deliveries, strong, smart, and full of her mother's fire. Then one hot afternoon, after 7 long years, Destiny decided to visit. His chest tightened. He followed her discreetly as she returned to the food stand, and there she was, Amaka. Standing behind a small wooden table, her hands stained with stew, sweat glistening on her forehead, but her spirit unbroken. For a long moment, Chinedu just watched her. The woman who had once walked away from him now stood there, still fighting life's battles, still carrying everyone's weight, her children, her aging parents, her unborn dreams. He walked up to her slowly. Their eyes met, a silence filled the air. No anger. No pride. Just time and regret. "Amaka," he said softly. Her lips trembled. "Chinedu. I didn't expect." He smiled gently. "You don't have to explain. I see everything." From that day, Chinedu became a constant visitor. He didn't judge her. He helped her quietly, upgrading her business, connecting her to food suppliers, teaching her how to manage money. Within months, her little table turned into a restaurant. Within a year, she owned the most popular food joint in town, Amaka's Kitchen. Her children were enrolled in good schools. Her parents received proper medical care. Her face began to glow again, not from makeup or money, but from peace. And yes, love found its way back, gently and naturally. Chinedu eventually opened a big restaurant for her in the city, a modern space with her name in shining letters. He stood beside her on opening day, proud and grateful. Meanwhile, news came that Chucks had been transferred to a maximum security prison. His sentence, life, without parole. And that was how life came full circle. Amaka learned that beauty fades, money flies, but character and patience always remain. She often tells her daughters, "My dear, never trade love and peace for glitter. It's better to grow with someone who has vision than to fall for someone who only has vanity." And so, the story of Amaka became a lesson for every young woman in Umuka, a tale whispered from mother to daughter. Sparkles, be patient with humble beginnings, for true love and honest work will always outlast deceit.